Hey there, Russ here. Welcome back to the shop. Well, today we're going to do something that I haven't never really done in my shop before. I'm actually going to do a tool review. Now, this tool review is on a wet dry shop vac. It's a 3-gallon Ryobi. It's the P3240. And I have to tell you, at least I hope that's what it is, 3240. Now it's going to make me look, because now I'm wondering. Anyway, it's pretty identical. It looks just like this. There's nothing that looks like it. And it's a 3240, I'm sure. Anyway, it actually turns out I'm very happy with this thing. First, you ask yourself, why would you want something like this? I've always owned the bigger shop vacs, wet dry shop vacs. So if I ever had to do any water especially, or any really dirty job where you need to get a shop vac type of thing rather than using, whose house shop vac, that'll get you in trouble in a hurry. I've always had to lug that big one around. It's so big it's always on wheels, and that's always fun to negotiate around in the house. So this thing is just going to be so much easier. It does everything those things do, just smaller. It doesn't carry as much, which is okay. It's only 3-gallon capacity, but I don't remember ever needing it wet-wise for more than 3 gallons myself. I doubt if I would use even 3 gallons on a job for something like this. But it actually is a good, convenient size. And by being battery operated, I don't have to worry about plugging and unplugging the cord as I get in and try to put it in places where you got to get in tight spots, like in the kitchen or in the bathroom with the thing, you plug it in. It's never fun. So this makes it easy. You go in, you grab your hose and go. Now, so one of the arguments some of the guys said is, well, it should have been hybrid. I don't think that really matters. And me, I don't doubt if I would ever have the urge to wish I could have plugged that in instead. I don't see that happening. So anyway, one of the other things that they talked about out there, because I did do some reviews of this product before I bought it, and they complained about the hose. Two things about the hose. First, that it was too short. They really love the fact that it's extremely flexible, but it's only about 3 foot long and stretches out, or 2 foot long and it stretches out to 2 or 3 feet. And I don't know that I would want to stretch it that far, because if you did that all the time, the thing would probably not come together so nicely. So, but it is extremely flexible. So underneath the sink or something, this thing would be so easy to use compared to a regular shop vac. It's only like 1.25 inch diameter hose, so it's the small size also. Makes it much easier to get in and out of some of the tight places. So that's one of the things that makes this thing really attractable, is the battery capability, so you don't have to have a cord also you're fighting when you're trying to get inside somewhere. But the cord being too short was one of their complaints. The other one was the fact that it would come out of the hook all the time, and it did do that too, right out of the box. I was having a hard time. Every time I moved it, this thing would flop off and start dangling. So that's the problems that they talked about. Well, for the first one, where it was too short, I just bought the replacement hose. When I bought this, I went out and found a replacement hose on eBay. I paid about $15 for it, and it was the last one. So, but I bought it, and I added it to here, and they actually, the size of it, it fits right on itself, the one end. So I can have this one hooked up here, or I can put it right on this hose and twist and push it on, and it's nice tight fit. So now I have a 6-foot hose instead of a 3-foot hose. And I store it by going underneath the handle. And I took the one connector that's down below over here, and I put it in its blower position, and I just store this right there. So now I can still carry it around with the extra long hose, and this works out very nicely for me. I think this will be fine. So instead of this being stored down here, it's probably going to be stored up here pretty much all the time. Even when I'm using it, I suspect I'll just leave it on there. So anyway, we'll see as we go, since I haven't really used it. And I'll come back and talk about this in a year from now if I remember, so that we can see what we think about it then. But it really does have a lot of good things going about it. So that fixed the hose problem. They talked about these things not fitting in their cradles. like this one here, sets in the cradle right here. One of the things, and I think one of the problems they were having with that is, unless you really look carefully, these look like they're the same size, but they're not. If I put this in one way, like this, it's loose. It's not in there, but it's tight over here. But if I put it in this way, whoops, get in there. Now it's tight over here, and it's tight over here. So these are actually two different sizes when I looked at them carefully, and you got to put this thing in only one direction. And maybe it says that somewhere, but I haven't seen anybody talk about it or seen anybody do anything about it. Also, they talk about eventually, I'm sure this will not stay in there. It's not a super tight fit, so it'll probably pop out of there pretty easy while you're moving around. So I'm probably just going to do like I did here with the hose, is I'll just put a piece of Velcro on here and glue it on, a strap, and have it connect on the other side, and that'll hold that on. That's what I did right here for the hose, because the hose kept falling off, so I put a little strip of Velcro there and here just to go around it. And that's, now it's fine. No problem with it flopping around or anything like that. So a little bit of Velcro there will cure that problem. And that was one of the things everybody complained about. Now, I will tell you, one of the reasons why I bought this one over all the ones that were out there, I don't remember any other small shop dry vac, shop wet dry vac out there that not only will use a suction, this one you can use as a blower. Like you can with the regular larger ones. You can move the outlet from one place to another, the hose, and now it becomes a blower instead of a suction. This has that capability. That's what this does, and it pops right in here on the fan outlet of the motor. All the air is blowing out of here, and then you can just hook your hose up to it, and now this thing blows air, so you can use it to blow things away and use it that way. Very few shop vacs, small vacuum, have that. It's such a handy feature to have at times, to be able to blow things away too. So that's one reason that I decided this is the one I wanted to buy finally, because that feature you just never see on any of them. Now, as far as other improvements I made to it, the only other thing I did is it's really easy to open and to clean out. This is just a container that you can take and empty real easy. The battery, the filter sits right here. Now I took, and it just twists in and out. So you just put it in, drop it down, there it goes, and turn it and lock it, and then you're done. So it's really easy to take in and out. When you're doing water, it already keeps the little water valve here so that water doesn't get into the motor. So that's built in, always on there. You can take it off if you want to service it, but I wouldn't. I took it off once to see if I could, and I wouldn't advise taking it on and off very much. There's the regular filter. It's just a pleated paper filter, but in here I was afraid this thing would probably get filled with dirt so quick and easy. So in order to help protect the paper, I wrapped it with 2 wraps of a pre-filter that will catch all the big debris. And then I can take this on and off easily and clean it out to keep that filter so it'll last a lot longer then. That is one way to save make your filters last a lot longer. So anyway, these things are about $15, and it looks to me like they're going to be very proprietary. Nothing else out there is even close. So you'd have to find a filter that fits this model exactly in order to use it, or you have to build your own. So anyway, this will help when I make it longer. I'll probably get a second filter. Probably a good idea to have a spare laying around for when you need it. But I think this thing is actually a pretty good buy. I'm actually quite impressed with it. So anyway, I bought it. I think I've made the improvements that have needed to be made to it. Kind of. So, and this thing is ready to go. It did come with a battery and a battery charger. If I could have bought just a tool, I probably would have bought it that way. But unfortunately, any place I found that sold it with just the tool only, without the battery option to go with it, the price was the same. It was weird. So I'm not so sure this thing isn't being phased out, though, because I noticed that it's hard to find that hose out there, too, the replacement hose. So they may not be keeping the idea of this one around, I suspect. But we'll see. Give time. I know that now and then they'll bring something out and then they'll discontinue it without you even realizing they did that. That's what happened to that one light I bought from Ryobi. So they do have a lot of tools that come and go. If you're not paying attention, you don't even realize that happened. So if you want to buy one, I do advise you to get the second hose. Anyway, that's it. I think it's a great unit. It's well worth the money I spent for it. And it looks like it's going to be real easy to carry around and be able to use either in the shop or in the house without any problem. And it'll be easy to empty. So I am sold on this thing. I've always wanted to get a smaller one, but I've never seen one I really liked. And that blow feature, it really adds that one thing that they've always been missing on the small ones. So anyway, tell me what you think. If you've had one for a while, let me know what you think of it. I think it's going to be a great unit for a long time to come. But I'd like to hear your opinions of it. If you any thoughts or comments, just leave them down below. If you learned something here, you like this video, hit that like button. It lets me know that I'm doing something right. And don't be afraid to tell me what you think of my review. It's a little different than anybody else. And like I said, I also have some improvements that you normally don't see them suggest. So anyway, thanks for coming by. Please come back because I'm nowhere near done. Thanks, and we'll see you guys again very soon.